All right. What's going on, Brad? How are you doing, man?
Hey man, happy Memorial Day, I guess yesterday.
Yeah.
It still feels
right,
like it's the
right.
weekend.
I know. I always feel weird saying Happy Memorial Day because it's one of those days. You do too? Okay.
That's funny that you said it because I do too. I'm like, it's not like a happy day. Like we've turned it into like this day that like we, barbecue and everyone's out on their boats and stuff like that. But it's like a day that we remember our troops that died.
Right, right. Now,
yeah.
my wife has a good spin on deaths. You know, she always talks about like for one, you don't say passed away, you say they're dead, right? That's her deal, and she's helped me with that. But she also, it's a celebration of life, right? What's that? Thank you to the nurse. Yes, exactly. Her nurse mindset, right? She's around it all the time. But yeah, it's a celebration of life. Let's remember them for what they did, right? Yes, and so absolutely. Perhaps that's why we call it Happy Memorial Day, and we are out celebrating because we do have our freedoms. But we have to remember that there are people that died for us, right? Absolutely. And so we just wanted to send thoughts and prayers for those that have lost loved ones, and we just thank you for. I know people get the whole mix-up of thank you for your service because that's not Memorial Day, it's the other day and that, but it's hard not to say it, at the same time, because we just are so thankful, right?
Yeah, but we remember your sacrifice.
Yes, exactly.
And we thank you for that.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. But Brad, other than that, how's your week been? How's your weekend been?
Man, fantastic. Today's been great. Been up watching the markets this morning as the markets opened. Before that, got out, got a little kayaking in, and
nice.
So yeah, good, man. That's good.
Deal.
I've been up for a while.
I know, me too, man.
I got a matcha. My wife made me a matcha this morning.
There you go.
Life's good.
Good stuff, man. Yeah, we've had a good week. It's been good for real estate and for us as well. We've got 5 properties under contract. I think I'm picking up another today or tomorrow, which is really, really awesome for us. So that's exciting. And man, I don't know if you knew this, but so the VV app for NFTs, right? They have for anybody that doesn't know, it's an app you can go download, VEVE, and you can purchase NFTs. It's a safe marketplace. It's a lot lower learning curve, from an NFT standpoint. But they have a big partnerships. One of them being Disney. Okay. Others, Disney's part of Marvel, so they have the Marvel as well with that, and DC Comics and Pokemon and a bunch of others. So big names for NFTs. But however, with the stuff going on in the Star Wars universe,
did you get a lightsaber?
I definitely got a lightsaber. And
my account has logged me out. I gotta get back into it.
And I scored the secret rare off the drop.
Oh, come on!
But that's not the big one, okay? So that one that was $60, and currently it's worth like $200, which is cool.
Nice.
However, the first ever Darth Vader NFT dropped over the weekend. First ever in the entire history of NFTs. Okay.
Nice.
And this one dropped in what's called a blind box, and so you pay, in this case, $80, and you get a random level. So that for this one, there were 3 rarity levels. Okay, in this one, there's a common, an uncommon, and then an ultra rare. And I scored the ultra rare on this one. And as of yesterday, this thing's floor was $2,600.
Sell.
It is so hard to, I'm debating back and forth.
You want to see it do like some of those Wonder Woman and stuff did or whatever. They were up at 20,000 almost.
Exactly. Some of these. I mean, the Walt Disney Golden Moments that came out that hit over $30,000 at one point. Right. I mean, now it's way down from there because of the whole market sentiment and everything. However, with this Darth Vader drop has kind of helped VV turn a bit of a corner from a lull and a correction standpoint. So it's interesting to see. So I don't know. I don't know if I'll sell or continue riding the wave. We'll see. That's the fun part of it.
That's awesome, man. Nice
But
work.
I wanted to share
That
that.
motor, like every time I see something, like I'm like, oh, I need to like get back on my app, and I try to log in, and then I have to go like find my password or whatever in my, my safe,
Right.
and then it like makes me do some authentication thing, and
Yeah.
for some reason it doesn't like my email address right now, so I'm gonna have to like do something different and get
That's
it reset.
funny. Yeah.
But I mean, I missed out on Darth Vader
You
and a
did, man.
lightsaber.
You
Come
did.
on,
I
come
know,
on.
man. My neighbor Simon's a huge Star Wars fan, and so he picked up a lightsaber as well. Unfortunately, he was out at the lake, and so he missed out on Darth Vader. Um, but you can still go get the common or the uncommon for like 100, 120, something like that.
So fun.
But anyways, yeah, I have a separate iPad that I actually do those purchases on because apparently it's quicker and faster, and I connect it to the internet. It's this whole I geek out
Oh,
over this
nice.
stuff.
Yeah, you've geeked out on it. I had that set up when I was at my house as well, and it helps. So that's good.
Yep, for sure. But
Yeah.
man, so for this week's Crypto Takeover podcast, I'm excited because we've got a little bit different, episode for you today
Yeah.
that we're gonna continue to do in the future, but we're kind
Yes.
of releasing it here. And we have our Crypto Takeover Bits and Bytes newsletter that we send out to our Academy students. And we wanted to kind of debut that on the podcast here and kind of use it as a format.
Yep.
And we'll show that here in just a moment. But just to give you kind of an overview, we kind of talk about current market sentiment, where Bitcoin is at, where Ethereum is at, where the total market cap is. We give some top 5 movers, for the week. Typically, we're sending this out on a weekly basis, and so that we're kind of basing the movements on that. And crypto can go crazy in a week, so there's a lot that
Absolutely.
could happen.
Yeah.
We've got some headlines to chat about.
Mhm.
And then there's some other parts of it that are more specific for our students, but we'll give you a brief, quick overview. If you have any interest in that, you can definitely reach out to us for that kind
Yeah.
of stuff.
And this is something that we've been doing for a while, and was, we would send out the newsletter every week. We would do a quick overview video of it and
Mm-hmm.
send it out in our old Telegram.
Right.
And now we have the Discord, and so we're going to be sharing these things there. So if you want more information of this kind of stuff, just plug in. But we're going to actually start incorporating this into the podcast every week as well,
Yep.
just to give you guys more value. So hopefully you guys take it, run with it, and it helps you out.
Yeah, for sure. So without further ado, let me switch over here. I'm going to share my screen with you guys and pop over to this newsletter that we've got. So we've actually even just kind of revamped the design of it. So I'm excited for this. So this is the newsletter. Okay, we call it Bits and Bytes, and we do this on a weekly basis. Today is May 31st, so we're gonna drop this episode today for you because it's very timely information, because all this could literally change overnight. So
Yeah, absolutely.
if you want access to this specific newsletter, then you'll need to join our Discord. And there'll be a link that we have in the show notes that you can get from there to join the Discord. So if you want specific, to be able to, because we're not going to go over everything in here, we're going to touch and highlight on some stuff. But if you want to read through it and you have any more interest, there are clickable links all throughout here
Yes.
to different things. And so if you want this, you would just need to join our Discord. And it's free to join the Discord. There's a guest area and everything like that. We do have other levels for students and stuff like that. If you have any interest in that, you can just ask. So, but other than that, you can join in the conversation in the Discord. We'd love to have you there. So, man, so this week and really just in the past couple of days, because we have been in seemingly this bear market, I think even the bull market people are kind of potentially changing their tune a little bit, but which I myself was one of them, but just in the past, couple of days, we've seen a little uptick in the market cap, where we were down to 1.2, 1.1, area. We're up here approaching 1.4 now. And so I have the green arrow next to it that you can see. And that just means compared to last week again. So all of this stuff is kind of compared to last week. We got Bitcoin approaching 32. It actually did hit over 32 yesterday for a brief moment. And quickly the bears, turned in and cashed in on some of that. And then Ethereum approaching 2 as well. And I think it got over 2 briefly by like 10 to 15 bucks. That 2000 is kind of a mental, mark for Ethereum. So we will see, what happens there. And then for our top 7-day movers, we've got Evmos, we've got Chain, we've got Waves, Cardano in the mix there, and then Synthetics Network Token. And so some of these larger move guys, you see this as like a 90% move, in the past week. So you could expect a healthy correction, especially being in a bear market, but that's a pretty good move, within the bear market. So, and these are anything that we put in this top 7-day movers are going to be top 100 coins on CoinGecko. So these are, and that's by market cap. So these are projects that have a considerable amount of money in them and have ties to some of the other larger market cap, like Evmos is part of the Cosmos chain. Okay. And then Chain itself is tied to creating ledgers and stuff for a lot of other chains and larger projects and things like that. And so you've got Waves and Cardano and those guys. So just some pretty good movement. It's nice to see some green, but I would take this as potential temporary relief. I wouldn't, be like all in at this point. I would be still very careful. We got to get a bunch of confirmations on what's happening. I, for one, still believe that we will see a correction from the upside, but I still believe it's going to be just a relief rally. I don't know where it'll take us, whether it's to 35 or 38 or something. If we go over 40, I don't think we'll stay there very long. And I think we'll come back down and test some new lows. Personally, that's my personal belief. I don't know. What's your thoughts, Brad, on that?
Yeah, I mean, Mike, I'm with you on that. I think I agree with what you're saying from that standpoint. What I see the market kind of the same way right now. I see this as, a bounce back up. I expect to see June potentially be a month where we do see a little bounce back up. May was a very volatile month. There was a lot of downside in May. We can, here, I'll share my screen here. And we can look at some things, but if we pull up, let's see here, if we pull up a chart, there's Ethereum, get Bitcoin up here. Actually, I like this chart.
So he's looking at TradingView here, guys. If you ever want to just look at some charts, that tradingview.com is, and there's free accounts and then they have paid accounts, but even for free, I think you get like one alert within your account, but you can just go literal charts for anything. So Bitcoin, crypto, indices, commodities, the stock market, all that type of stuff. So he's just pulling up a chart for you guys within TradingView.
Yeah, so this is my trading view. I've got some things marked up on this Bitcoin chart, and so this is kind of my thoughts right now. I could see us bouncing back up into this zone and retesting in this level here. You see, I have a little alert on my chart, in that 34 range. So, I mean, we had a significant move down here. We have a significant move from this high. So this is the high that was placed in November. And so we've steadily been working down on the daily since then. We retested last year's lows. So these were last year's lows last summer, guys. You see, in May of last year was when you saw this market just really start to come down from the original all-time highs around 64, dropped down and retested this zone. You can go back to prior episodes, but I talk about this zone quite a bit.
Right.
And so you saw it actually break through the zone. And then on a daily perspective, it has continued to stay above this zone. So
what's that price, Brad, for that zone?
It's like 28. Well, this is 618 from this move,
Mm-hmm.
from top to bottom of this old high. So it's staying above the 618, which is 28,300
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
And so, but what I would kind of be looking at is a relief rally back up. Anytime something's going to continue to move down, it needs some, to coil back up before it can push down again. So if
Right.
it is going to push back down and push down significantly, like if we were going to see a move down into these lower ranges, talking about like maybe 20,000 or something like that, it needs to kind of coil back up, give itself some room to make that move back out and down into these lower levels. So
Yeah.
yeah, you can see this as being a potential relief zone. Now, if it breaks this zone and starts to see this as support, it could,
Possible.
reverse and go back up. And so that's why it's important to not be too tied to your perspective, but to continue to watch the charts on a daily. If we were watching these levels back here, and everyone that was extremely bullish when Bitcoin was around 56,
Mm-hmm.
58, if we were paying more attention, and we weren't so one-sided in our perspective, I think more of us would have sold at this point,
Right.
and bought back down again here. But that's why it's important not to be emotionally tied, but to learn how to read the charts and to be okay with going in and out of your positions.
Yeah, and you make a good point there. Like from a you know whoever you're listening to perspective, like we would encourage you not to even just listen to us, which would be amazing if you are just listening to us. But
Please don't just listen to
you know
us.
what I mean. But I don't know that we have any of those just yet. But if you are, we would encourage you to listen to some other perspectives as well.
Yes.
Even ourselves, Brad and I talk to each other, but we're
Yep.
not just listening to us. We're getting information and perspective. That was the key word that Brad said there, perspective from numerous other people. I've got a
Right.
couple of people that I follow on Twitter. I've got a couple of people that I follow on Instagram. There's a podcast
Mhm.
that I listen to, and I have my own academy that I pay for and my own
Yep.
educators that I
Right.
listen to, right?
Right.
And so you got to get perspective from all angles and then either take all that and put it together and then pick what you feel in your heart of hearts, what the
Right.
market is going to do. But I
Absolutely.
highly encourage you not to just go from a single source for this regard. There are a lot of things in
Right.
life you can single source some things, but in terms of markets, I mean, they can move on a dime. And if you just are listening to one person, to like be the end all be all, I feel
Right.
like you're going to get burned eventually, and so that's just my two
100%.
cents.
Yeah, 100%. And that is the way that you kind of create your own plan too. It's
Yeah.
like you can take perspectives of multiple people, build it into what you believe your perfect market trading strategy looks like, and then stick to your plan.
Right.
And so that's what I would encourage everybody to do,
Yeah.
as well. So let's jump back into the screen here. Let's go back to the newsletter real quick. So, I mean, we were talking about this stuff, what's been, how the market's been on an uptick, and it could continue to do that through this month. You got some different things that are shaping out right now.
Hmm.
So the summer it could be very interesting. I could see, like I said, June being an uptick type of a month, but there are potential big news things that are going to come out this month. And before I jump into the headlines, one of those is that the Federal Reserve is going to be potentially, more than likely 100% raising interest rates again on June the 15th.
Yeah.
And so if that happens, then, that changes things. That changes the value of the dollar. If we go back into my charts, if we go to the dollar index, um,
I mean, they've still got three or
if we
four on
go,
the docket for the rest of the year.
Yeah, 100%. So, they could bump this, start pushing the dollar index back up higher. As the dollar increases in value,
Hmm.
it will affect the crypto market. And not only the crypto market, but you see, I've got my indices here, some foreign exchange pairs, commodities, etc. These are all different markets that I follow regularly. And the dollar uh, really affects every one of those things.
Right.
And so, if they continue to increase the value of the dollar, then you will see everything else fall. So,
Yep.
so it's interesting. But like right now, like this morning, for example, today it's the last day of a month. So you've got positions that are, you see the stock market is having a down day today. It had a big rally down, but now you can see that it's starting to come back up again. If you look at weekly and monthly views, it's almost to where it opened at the beginning of the month again.
Mm.
So very interesting. We started off in this range, came way down all month, and then over the last week we came all the way back up. So it's
Wow.
like count back, this is the last weekly candle, and there you go. So new
That is a
month, new things.
gigantic weekly candle there.
Yeah, so lots of things happening. But
No
yeah,
kidding.
let's jump into some of these headlines real quick to see what else is happening in the marketplace,
Yeah.
in the crypto space. So this was a big one. Let's just jump into some of these. So the SEC commissioner said that crypto regulation will happen faster now because of the recent Terra Luna issue with their stablecoin. So UST crash. Okay. So you see this happening all over right now. So the SEC is talking about it right here in this headline. You see South Korea authorities launch probe into the Terra crash.
Hmm.
Um, there's a bunch of things happening. I mentioned this, like, I believe maybe 2 episodes ago, but like when we went over the whole Luna thing, but like when it
Right.
happened, you had the Federal Reserve coming out and saying, "Hey, now we need to monitor this more. We need regulation." So you're seeing a lot of regulation news happen right now,
Hmm.
and Terra is, a lot in the headlines because of what happened with it, and so,
It almost seems planned.
yeah, interesting, right? Very interesting. So, and going along with the Luna headlines, Luna's put out their 2.0 version, and immediately everyone that was getting that airdrop started selling it. So the price plunged like almost immediately. So you can see that, Luna's trying to do some things, but it seems like last ditch efforts and not really gonna, be able to resurrect itself.
Right.
Um, you've got last week, you had, the big old huge meeting, World Economic Forum, all this stuff happening in Switzerland, and crypto was not in the back seat anymore. It was very much mainstream, as they were all over the strip, with people like Facebook, Meta, and everything else up and down the vendor areas and things like that, and news areas. And so lots of stuff going on, including there was a Bitcoin pizza day. They had NFT stuff going on. Very interesting day out there in Switzerland during this whole uh, World Economic Forum deal. And when all the elites get together and they talk about what they want to have happen in the world, you know, um, obviously things that they want to regulate and take control over are going to be discussed, and crypto is right in the forefront of that.
Right.
Um,
And if you don't know what Bitcoin Pizza Day is, for those that have never known or don't know about it, basically years ago, before Bitcoin had taken the run that it's on now and become more mainstream, this was back in 2010. Okay, this was at the origination of Bitcoin, really. There's a dude that bought two large pizzas for 10,000 Bitcoin. Could you imagine spending 10,000 Bitcoin?
Look at that! Look at this!
$315 million later. Oh my gosh.
Uh,
That
that'll
better
hurt.
be some good pizza.
That'll hurt. That'll hurt.
So now he's become a meme, unfortunately. But you
Yeah.
never knew that, right? We could be saying the same thing about somebody, paying that with Ethereum right now.
Well, he could have, he didn't do it, but he could have gotten 10,000 more the next day for $20.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
So it's
Exactly.
just like, it was the first transaction, I believe.
Yep.
And so pretty cool that and that's the way it's always going to be. Like, I mean, because there's going to be a day that Bitcoin is at $1 million a coin potentially, and we're going to be talking about oh man, I took profits at 20,000, I never got back in.
Right.
And people are going to look at those people like they were crazy, and it's like, oh, they bought a house with Bitcoin, or they bought a car with Bitcoin, or something like that. Like the founder of Dogecoin, for example, sold off all of his Dogecoin, and I believe he bought like a Honda. And it's like now, like Dogecoin's like this massive, huge deal, and he doesn't even have anything for it except for his Honda, even though it's a meme and he created it as a total joke. That's just the way it is. So very interesting. Speaking of Dogecoin, Elon Musk pumped it last week.
He's good at
that. Man, it's crazy. This dude, richest man in the world, can say anything he wants, and it just pumps price. I mean, I wish my Twitter could do that.
Maybe we can get him to mention the Crypto Takeover podcast one day.
Yeah. We make a meme of him saying, "Hey, my only podcast I listen to is." No, but he pumped it, and he just said, "Hey, SpaceX is going to accept Doge," and of course, Doge pumped like by I think 8 or 10% that day.
Right.
It came back down a little bit, but that's to be expected in this market.
Yep.
So pretty crazy stuff. A couple other major headlines are just that JP Morgan is very interesting with their press releases, but JP Morgan says that we will replace real estate with digital assets as our preferred alternative asset class. Now, JP Morgan says something, like, at this point, I'm gonna like run the other way. So I'm like, they say one thing and they're like, hey, like literally they say Bitcoin is going to zero, it's worthless. They're like buying it up like crazy, and it runs up to 68,000. When it's at 50, they're like, Bitcoin's going to 500,000, and then what happened? Bear market. So now they're saying, hey, we're going to replace our real estate portfolio with digital assets. So now I'm like, okay, they're going to dump it some more. They're going to buy more real estate. Then they're going to sell all the real estate in like 6 months from now. And then they're going to buy some,
Well,
so
and
like,
that's what we, you were looking at the charts and talking about where you think it, it's going to be. That's what we're talking about, this relief rally. So look at JP Morgan coming on the back of this relief rally, and then some of these, retail traders like you and I can take this news and say, oh, they're buying Bitcoin. I need to go buy Bitcoin. It's about to go to the moon, right? JP Morgan, the largest bank in the world, is talking about it in this way. And then everybody gets trapped in that 34, 38, wherever it is. Nobody has a crystal ball. And then boom, it just drops off the face of the earth.
Right. Absolutely.
So you got to take some of these headlines, like they're headlines for a reason, but you gotta take some of them a grain of salt. I don't know what, you just got to read into them a bit more. Right.
Yep. Now, this one is the one that keeps me thinking, hey, there is that possibility that we get one more like bull run feel and maybe hit higher highs before the end of the year. Very doubtful, but this Ethereum merger that is going to happen in, they're saying now this could potentially happen in August. We've talked about that this could happen, sometime in Q3, Q4. That's kind of been like the idea, of what's been said. When that happens, and that could potentially push Ethereum's price up substantially at that point in time. When that does happen, it could be pushing a lot of money back into the crypto space. We could see one more big run before the end of the year. And then potentially seeing a larger bear market drop off before the Bitcoin halving.
Right.
So,
right. And why is that? I mean, the Ethereum is the backbone. I mean, Bitcoin is the gold standard, if you will, but Ethereum is kind of the backbone of Web3. Really, when you look at it. And so the merge is them going from a proof of work to a proof of stake. And what does that mean? A lot lower fees and a completely different system, for Web3 as as a whole. And so that could be that catalyst news that does take us, like Brad's saying, to some new highs. It does have that potential to do that, and everybody has been waiting and waiting and waiting for this, and now it's potentially happening even sooner, right? And then you've got midterm elections, coming up in November as well. So it could be a really rocky year, honestly. It could be. We could see these lows and then some highs with a relief, and then some lows and then back up with Ethereum, merge. It's going to be a wild ride this year, honestly.
I mean, you could potentially be seeing something like this. So you see from the old high, right? From 2018, Bitcoin was Ethereum was 1386, comes down into like the 80 range, basically runs up here to this level, 2100, 2200, and then finalizes the year out at these highs last year around 46, 47. Okay, so if this potentially wants to make a run to the high side after this merger, which could also flip the Bitcoin Ethereum dominance, because a lot of people talk about when this happens, they could see more money going into Ethereum because Ethereum's use case. It's used for, transactions more. It's used for NFT purchases. It's used for, just so many different things, right? On a regular basis. You want to go purchase another coin. You want to, do something. You're typically swapping ETH for it. And so you need to buy ETH. And then with them burning more ETH every time something's used, gas fees being lower, if this runs for another, potential high, that could be interesting. So, something to keep your eye on. But the big halving to really be looking for is Bitcoin's halving, and that is around 703 days from now. So you've got some time to accumulate. So don't worry about what's happening right now. Know that right now, I would say, you got plenty of time to accumulate. And I would focus on, if you're looking to accumulate right now, I would focus on top tier coins. I would not be worried about coins that you think will make you a multimillionaire tomorrow.
Right.
I would focus on the big coins. Don't focus on, coins that have the potential to give you 100x, something like that.
Right.
I would look at, your major stuff, your Bitcoin, your Ethereum, your XRPs, the big stuff.
Yep.
So
100%.
But that's not financial advice. That is just, what I would consider doing personally.
For sure. We've got just a couple more minutes, really on this episode. We've got so much info. This one could be broken up into a few too, but I wanted to pull up this. It's called the 2022 State of Crypto Report by a fund called A16Z. You can find this at A16Z, as in zebra, crypto.com. And I'll put a link in the show notes as well. But it's got some neat charts, and I thought it kind of coupled well with this bear market. You talk about, you go into this bear market and you have people, and we've talked about this in previous episodes, that just say crypto is going to zero, right? Well, the data shows and proves otherwise, okay? Crypto goes through cycles, just like any innovation goes through cycles. And crypto has stood the test of time in terms of cycles, okay? So I'm showing here, they've got 5 key takeaways. I just wanted to touch on a couple of them because I thought they were interesting. But basically, we're in this we're in the middle of the fourth price innovation cycle. Okay, so in the way the cycle is spelled out here is essentially it goes price, interest, new ideas, startups and projects, and then back again to price, interest, new ideas, startups and projects. Okay, and they're basically saying we're in the middle of this cycle right now. So even though it can seem chaotic and volatile, you've got to look again. You hear this all the time, zoom out and see where it was. And the next chart that see where it was and now where it is, right? And the next chart that they show here, and I'm zooming in on it, talks about the global crypto market cap, okay? Back from 2009 to 2021 is a 270% increase to where we are, currently, okay? Developer activity, where it was when we first started, to a 68.6% increase now. Startup activity, new projects, new companies, 0 to now 62.5% increase, okay? An 83.1 increase, in social media activity. And so it's a really neat charts here. And there's big jumps from 2020 to 2021, and then now to 2022. So it's just the rate at which, the adoption is happening is very large. And real quick from Web 2 to Web 3 is this next point. And it talks about essentially bringing back things to the creators, okay? And bringing back the money to the creators. And it talks about how Web 3 platforms are not, the take rates are the lowest, they've ever been from a creator to a platform standpoint, okay? And it shows here OpenSea at 2.5% from a taker percentage compared to the App Store for Apple, which is up to 30%, or YouTube, which up to 45%, or our friends over at Meta, 100% approximately.
Wow.
Okay, this is what Web3 is trying to accomplish. It's bring it back to the people who make up our countries. This is giving back to the people. It's what they're trying to accomplish. Okay. Now they give a couple other stats here from an NFT standpoint. $3.9 billion was made in revenue in 2021. That's an average of $174,000 per creator. Okay. Then they look at Spotify, $7 billion, which is, almost double, but there's 11 million artists. That's $636 per artist. That's crazy. YouTube, 15 billion, 37 million channels, $405 per channel. And then Facebook, $300 million in revenue, but there's 2.9 billion users, 10 cents per user is the average, revenue source. So these are some crazy stats, but it just kind of reaffirms, what crypto is accomplishing and the adoption and where it's headed. And then this last chart I'll show real quick, it talks about DeFi. And so their third point is crypto is having real world impact. And this chart has the 31 largest US banks by total assets. Guess what comes in at 31? DeFi. So DeFi is on this list of these top US banks. And of course, at the top, you've got JP Morgan Chase, which is why you need to take some of those headlines with a grain of salt, because they make those headlines to move markets in their favor, whereas a couple of years ago, they were saying crypto is worth nothing. And now they're coming in and saying that their top alternative assets is crypto. So you got to be, on one hand, that is seemingly good because they're changing their tune in terms of crypto, but you can see why, because they have a lot to lose, if DeFi starts running these ranks, right? So just some interesting stuff there to look at. In terms of largest assets in these banks.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. That's great research.
So wanted to show that. I think the only other thing we could do here briefly is just run through this newsletter real quick. We've got stuff that is put out by educators within the platform that we are a part of, I Am Academy. And you can get all of this information by becoming a part of the I Am Academy with us. We speak highly of it. You can get this newsletter if you come in and join the Discord channel, and we'll have that link within our show notes. They've got trade ideas that they send out. There's weekly, daily live videos with the educators going live. And talking to you about the markets and trades, and talking to you about different projects and stuff like that. And lots and lots and lots of good information coming out of that. So we've got a couple of sections in here with stuff that pertains to that. And then upcoming events, we actually have a double header for you on June 9th. Okay. We've double booked ourselves here we have our Crypto and Craft Brews event, which is going to be in Garland, Texas. Okay. On June 9th, Thursday evening, starting at 6:30, going until close, which is around 9. And then we have our barbecue and Bitcoin event, which is going to be in the Fort Worth area. And that will be, I believe, starting at 6. Okay. And so you've got a couple of events here in the Dallas Fort Worth area. If you'd like to come out to an in-person event and meet and chat with us, we'd love to have you there. And then there's some larger scale events put on. Consensus is a big one by CoinDesk that they put on a yearly basis. That's happening June 9th to 12th. And then CoinGecko has their GeckoCon event coming up July 14th and 15th. And then we have a big I Am Academy in-person event that's coming up in September, and those are phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. So other than that, we've got we have the link in here for the Discord. We'd love to have you join us there. Man, we are just tickled pink to have you guys listen to us. I've had multiple people reach out, these past couple of weeks, and just sharing their enjoyment of what we've been sharing with you. And we just want to say thank you. We appreciate it. We're just trying to give you some insight into our world, give you some knowledge, some nuggets, and then just take this journey, with you.
Yes.
So
and I'd like to add one kind of final thought to that is, this is the time where most people don't pay attention to crypto. This is the time when the market's slow and boring, it's down, that people aren't paying attention anymore. They're not listening to podcasts. They're not following the news. They're not checking what's going on. And these are the times where if you are paying attention, you will be the one that's making the big money in the next cycle. So don't discount the fact that it's boring right now.
Right.
That it's slow right now, that maybe you're in some drawdown right now. Use this season as a season to really learn about what is moving these markets and understand it, because if you get it figured out right now and you're learning, you won't miss out on the opportunities, because you'll be aware of what's happening. You'll see the bottoms being created. You'll see everything happen, and you'll be able to make the moves that you need to make. And so I would encourage you, stay plugged in. Even if it feels boring, commit yourself to learning, commit yourself to following, a couple of different people, listening to different podcasts, staying ahead of news, stuff like that. And you will win in these next cycles.
That's good stuff. Awesome stuff, Brad. Great insight there. All right, guys. Well, hey, we appreciate you listening to this one. Absolutely. I look forward to this time every week. And we just thank you so much. I hope everybody has a fantastic week. And we will catch you on the next episode.
Yep. You'll have a great day. Make a good one.